And the field goal kicking team for Minnesota will come on. The Giants, having stopped the touchdown, a little more difficult will be stopping the field goal because for Fred Cox, one of the fine kickers in the NFL, this is about a half a 9-iron.
And it is good. Minnesota now leads 20-10 over New York, and we'll be back with the Vikings kickoff. Oh, it's a boomer. Fuqua deep into the end zone and no run back.
And the Washington Redskins have exploded. Maybe Lombardi exploded when they got behind 10-0 to New Orleans, but Sonny Jurgensen has hit Charlie Taylor on the 10-yard touchdown pass, and he also hit Jerry Smith on a 12-yard touchdown pass. Washington 14, New Orleans 10.
First and 10, New York at their own 20. Herman, 85, comes out wide to the left. Ernie Coy and Tucker Fredrickson, the running backs. It's Ernie Coy. And Carl Eller hits him first. Winston. At about the 24. Second down and 6. Well, next Sunday afternoon, CBS will again televise 8 National Football League games regionally. For the games and times in your area, check your local program listings. Atlanta at Los Angeles, Baltimore, Minnesota, Chicago at St. Louis, Dallas at New Orleans, New York at Detroit, Pittsburgh at Philadelphia, San Francisco at Green Bay, and Washington at Cleveland. Second down and 4. And there's Herman out of bounds at about the 28. Make it third down and 2.
What a difficult call 3rd and 2 is against Minnesota. With that strong front 4. Almost necessitates the pass. Although it's right in that area, that gray area between must pass and can run.
Fredrickson. Alan Page grabbed him. He managed to slip a little bit out of his grasp, but there was a nice hole there had Page not held him. Let's see what they do, where they put it. It is short of the first down.
Well, that's that little gray area again. He just came up a little gray short. 4th and about a foot. Again, the emotional fans here at the stadium would like to see the Giants go for it. However, trailing by 10 points, Webster, head coach Alex Webster, decides he'll use Pete Gogolat's talented toe.
Bryan and West are deep for Minnesota. That's West at the 35, and good coverage by New York puts him down at the 36. Hal Brenner, number 48, and Butch Wilson, number 86, on the stop. So Minnesota now leading 20-10 with 4 minutes left in the third period. Have it first down and 10 at the 37-yard line.
First and 10 on the 37.
Osborne, nowhere. Lertzema sits on him, number 71. With a little help from his friends, number 72, Frank Parker.
260 pounds worth of help. The Atlanta Falcons, who have never won a game in their Coastal Division, are out in front of the San Francisco 49ers, 24-5. They're playing in the 4th quarter. Gibson has scored for Atlanta on a 9-yard touchdown run.
Bozzo going for Henderson. He's got it. And Crutcher finally puts him down. He beat Willie Williams at the 46-yard line. It'll be third down and about a yard, less than a yard for the first down.
See the official trying to clear the Giant defensive team out so he can get a line of sight to the measuring stick, which is in front of the Giants bench. It's considerably short and will not require a measurement.
Cookie Bolin injured on the play. Ed White, number 62, the great-looking rookie, has replaced him in the offensive line for Minnesota. Beasley, number 87, comes in, and Gene Washington goes out.
Cookie Bolin, of course, for many years, a New York Giant. Was traded 2 years ago.
Third down and 1. Brown. And he does not make it here. Scott Eaton right in there to grab him around the head. And it is fourth down for Minnesota.
And Frank Parker right there, too, along with Bruce Anderson to stack that up. But Scott Eaton stepping across from his cornerback spot. You see Doug Davis, top of the screen, limping off. He was the offensive blocker right in the middle of that action. And the last 2 plays, the Vikings have apparently lost a couple of starters in their offensive line. Doug Davis, 71, and Bookie Bolin, 66, both shaken up.
Carl Lockhart, 43. Al Brenner, 48. Deep for New York as Bob Lee, number 19, punts. Beautiful, high, spiraling punt that they're going to let go. And it takes the right bounce into the end zone.
Carl Lockhart very wisely threw a block on the first man down under that punt to allow it to get into the end zone. Of course, if an offensive man can stop the ball from going into the end zone, it is dead there.
With the score, Minnesota 20 and New York 10. Let's pause for a moment.
An untuned car is rain down your neck.
Seconds left in the third period from Yankee Stadium. Minnesota 20, New York 10. The Giants first and 10 now at their own 20-yard line. Ernie Coy, Tucker Fredericks in the backs. Loose football forced there by Minnesota and covered by the Vikings at the 20-yard line. Vikings ball.
And again, the fans indicating they thought that was an attempted pass. We'll try and take another look at it. You see, we're having a little difficulty. But it did appear as if Fran was hit just before he released the ball, which would be the fumble. Minnesota was ruled that way. Minnesota will take over first and 10 on New York's 20-and-a-half-yard line. There it was.
On the 21.
Osborne. Somewhere in the neighborhood of the 15-yard line.
Ball carried by Osborne.
Make it second down and 5.
And Litzema made the tackle. Second and 5.
So the Giant defense back in the pressure area now. Brown. And Lockhart cuts him down inside the 10.
Ball carried by Brown. Tackled.
Where it'll be a first and goal to go for the Vikings.
Bill Brown and Dave Osborne are quite a running combination. That time,
First
on the
down.
left side of the
Goal
line,
to go.
blocking for Bill Brown, the
Ball on the 6.
Grady Alderman found the Giants' defensive right end and defensive right tackle Lertzema and Dreyer slanting inside. He merely took Dreyer inside. Big hole for Brown.
Osborne.
Ball carried.
And Ralph Heck, number 55, Bruce Anderson, 79, and Henry Davis, 66.
Davis,
Make the stop.
Anderson on the tackle.
Well, that's the end of the third quarter with the score. Minnesota 20, New York 10. We now pause for station identification.
San Francisco opens its Golden Gate to Doris Day, who begins a new job and a new season on a new night tomorrow on CBS.
Yeah, now we go with the wind.
Yard marker's better there. All right, then. 6.
2nd and 6.
Beginning of the fourth period here at Yankee Stadium. Minnesota 20, New York 10. Minnesota's ball, 2nd and goal at the New York 6-yard line. Giants have put in their goal line defense. Henderson, one wide man to the right. And Bill Brown cannot hold on to it. Covered there by Ralph Heck, but it's touchdown if he had clutched the ball.
Well, Bill Brown is a great receiver, as you pointed out earlier. I know was very disappointed with that one. Just a simple case of taking your eyes off the ball before you actually caught it. Beautifully thrown by Fazo after the fake to Osborne had held Heck for just a moment. They used to have a coaching point, Jim Lee Howell did. He said, be sure you can read the lettering on the football before you take your eyes off it.
3rd down. Osborne. And he gets to about the 2-yard line. So it'll be 4th down. And Fred Cox comes trotting on the field.
Pretty good strategy on the part of Bud Grant. He's having difficulty moving the ball in close against the Giants, so he will go for the field goal again, which would require 2 Giant touchdowns to defeat the Vikings. This easy field goal will make it 23-10.
And it's good, and that's what it is. Minnesota now leads 23-10. And we'll be back with the Vikings kickoff in just a moment.
The Goodyear Custom Wide Tread Polyglass Tire.
I got 50,000 miles on these Goodyear Polyglass tires, which I traded in for new ones.
The mileage, 41,000 miles, proves a lot.
On 4 tires, Goodyear Polyglass tires, I got 43,000 miles.
Well, I've got 47,000 miles on this tire, and I think it's the greatest tire I've ever had.
I've got 38,000 miles on the tire right now, and it looks like it'll go for 50,000 or better.
It just runs and runs and runs and runs.
Oh, I got about 35,000 miles on these Polyglass tires.
This tire just seemed to me like it's just going to keep going and going and going.
And when I get 42,000 miles on a set of tires, that's fabulous.
I just say mileage, mileage, mileage. If you want it, buy this tire.
If it doesn't say Goodyear, it can't be Polyglass.
Back at Yankee Stadium, 14 minutes, 9 seconds left in this game. Minnesota 23, New York 10. Cox to kick off. Fuqua and Hollifield are deep. Short kick this time. Brenner takes it at the 10. Al Brenner, number 48, and disappears at about the 31-yard line.
Kickoff returned by Brenner.
Baltimore has gone out in front of Los Angeles 17-10. Johnny Unitas throwing his second touchdown pass. This to Jimmy Orr, 41 yards and a touchdown. Pittsburgh leads Detroit 16-13. They're in the fourth period. LA and Baltimore in the third period. And Cleveland is leading Philadelphia 27-13 in the fourth period.
Fredrickson and Coy the backs. Jones and Herman the wide receivers. And throwing on the dead run for Homer Jones, it is incomplete.
Well, and I think Fran Tarkenton must feel like brother-in-laws with Carl Eller. They've been side by side all afternoon.
Second down and 10. At the 34, Tarkenton hits Ernie Coy, who in turn is hit by Hilgenberg, number 58, the right side linebacker.
And as we come up to the passing situation, 3rd and 7, it'll be a good camera angle for you to watch number 81, Carl Eller, the defensive left end for Minnesota, in his battle against Steve Wright, as a pretty obvious passing situation is with us.
Trying to get Fredrickson. Incomplete. And New York will give up the football.
Well, you saw him. Number 81, that's why he's all pro. He's a little bit of every place. He has that perfect combination of strength and agility. The strength to overpower the blocker and the agility to run down the quarterback.
The deep receivers here for the Minnesota Vikings, Bryant and West. Gogolak to do the punting. End over end. West at the 30. Open field. Still going. A flag is down, and West finally goes down at the Giant 45-yard line. Hit there by Al Brenner. Flag is down at midfield.
It almost have to be a clipping call in that general area, the wide open field, against Minnesota, as West just about broke it.
Puts it back at their own 34, 1st and 10, 12 minutes, 34 seconds left in the game. 23-10 Minnesota. Washington to the left. Henderson to the right. And going deep for Washington, Willie Williams, and can't hold on. At the Giant 25.
You see Williams at Carl Lockhart coming over for the double coverage. Again, Willie Williams looking right back into that sun that shoots out into right field over the third deck of the stadium. Very difficult for a receiver as well as a defender to even find the football.
Second down and 10 now for Minnesota. Tom Hall has replaced Gene Washington. There goes Brown to about the 35, 36-yard line. Third down and about 7.
Terry Quazzo doing a fine job of mixing up not only his receivers, but his offense in general. That time, with Brown coming on the draw play. That keeps the defensive front four very honest in their pass rush. And now the passing down is with Gary Clark. Thank you for joining us, NFL Control, Carl.
All right, bye-bye. And our congratulations to you, too, Spider. The job well done. We've got a couple of late scores, Frank. L.A. 27, Baltimore 20. Michaels kicked a 41-yarder. An update on the Washington. It looks like the Redskins are perhaps out of the woods. It's 21-13.
That'll make Vinny happy, won't it?
Yeah, I'd hope to tell you. And they came back doing it. Next week, of course, the Colts and the Vikings, the Giants and the Lions. It's going to be a tough one.
Well, the Giants off running. If they keep that momentum going, it's going to be kind of interesting. In fact, it's going to be interesting all over. You mentioned that Central Division. Well, the Century, the Capital, and the Coastal, they all look like wild ones this year.
And it's going to be just a great weekend. The Bears, Cardinals, 49ers, Packers, and Milwaukee, and the Falcons, Rams, Redskins, Browns, Steelers, Eagles, and the Cowboys and the Saints. Frank, it's a real pleasure. Happy to see that things turned out a great ball game here. The Giants a winner. And that's our Pro Football Report for this afternoon. For Frank Gifford and Jack Whitaker, Bruce Roberts saying goodbye from Yankee Stadium in New York.
Change is in the wind. For 1970, we asked the wind to design a car. Torino, 1970. Wider. Longer. Lower. Torino, 1970. Molded into a sweeping new aerodynamic shape. This year, go with the wind. Torino, 1970. Ford gives you better ideas. It's the going thing.
We have 11 minutes and 40 seconds left to play at Yankee Stadium. Minnesota 23, New York 10. Giants ball, 1st and 10 at their own 30-yard line. Joe Morrison in at halfback. Well, we're just about to say that Fran had plenty of time, and it just caved in with Eller and Marshall, the two pincher movements there.
And he did have considerably more time than he's had, but deep downfield, Purcell McBee and Paul Krause had Homer Jones, his intended deep receiver, well covered. Quickly, we'll give you some scores. Dallas leading St. Louis 7-3. That Roger Staubach touchdown pass holding up. They're in the third quarter. Atlanta 24, San Francisco 12. Willard scored for San Francisco. Cincinnati leads San Diego 31-13. Houston leads Buffalo 17-3.
2nd and 15 at the 25. That's Morrison, but he can't get any speed up as he's really taken down from behind at about the 34-yard line. Make it about 3rd and 6. Carl Eller and Larson in there on the stop on Morrison.
Well, if Fran thinks he had a pass rush the last couple of downs, he can really anticipate one now. Again, that almost sure pass situation turns loose Carl Eller, Gary Larson, Alan Page, and Jim Marshall from any run responsibility. They just freewheel. Carl Eller, 81, the nearest to you. And Rich Buzzard will now be blocking Eller.
Well, Fran had to scramble in for his life. Dale Hackbart, number 49, pulls him down, and it's a 4th down. New York will have to give up the football. 10 minutes, 12 seconds left.
And those boos are more frustration than anything else by these Giant fans who, of course, are just about a majority of 62,500 people here at Yankee Stadium, because the Giant offensive line just seemingly cannot keep the pressure off Tarkenton. Cleveland's out in front of Philadelphia, 27-20. Philadelphia scored on a Hawkins 41-yard touchdown pass from Norm Snead.
Bryan and West, the deep men. Gogolak to punt for New York. At the 25, Charlie West. And down he goes at about the 29.
And the last part of the third quarter and the first part of the fourth quarter has been just seesaw back and forth between the 20s. The Giant defense maybe not doing the outstanding job that Minnesota's defense is, but they've been containing Minnesota. 23-10, Minnesota over New York. 9 minutes and 30 seconds remain. Both teams with their 3 timeouts remaining.
Washington to the right, Henderson to the left. Brown. Fred Dreyer, number 89, the rookie defensive end, stops him.
And a wee bit of an upset. The Pittsburgh Steelers have defeated the Detroit Lions 16-13.
Hello there.
Hello, Chuck Noll, the new head coach of the Steelers. Well, the last time they won an opening.
Second down and 10. Intended for Osborne. Henry Davis, number 66, covering. It'll be third down and 10.
Sometime Quazzo feeling a bit of the pressure that Tarkenton has been living with throughout the ball game. Bob Lertzema, along with Bruce Anderson, pressuring. An important down now for the Giant defense. Third and 10. Gene Washington, John Henderson, wide receivers for Gary Quazzo as he spends a lot of time in the huddle dispensing information. Washington goes to the right to be covered by Scott Eaton. Henderson to the left to be covered by Willie Williams. The Giants up in their blitz formation.
Touchdown,
like an audible and a check off and another, and here it is, intended for Henderson rather, and it is incomplete with Tommy Crutcher and Willie Williams covering. Number 41, Willie Williams.
I don't know whether you heard that or not, but you saw Gary Quazzo reading the blitz, call the automatic, and the Giants automatic themselves out of the blitz, and then Gary Quazzo, I guess in the best way possible, said all off the same thing, indicating he wanted to go back at the play he had originally called in the huddle. Strategy.
So another punting situation. Bobley and deep for New York. Carl Lockhart and Brenner. 8 minutes, 41 seconds left. Willie Williams in there. Fair catch called for, and Lockhart takes it at the 41-yard line.
And just as the Giant offense was booed a few moments ago, the Giant defense gets an ovation as they again hold Minnesota and have turned over the ball to their offensive teammates. Real good field position on the Giants' 41-yard line.
There's Fredrickson. Oh, and he just can't quite break loose out of the grasp of Hilgenberg and Winston as he gets to midfield to the 49 and a first down.
Real fine call with that front four of Minnesota's anticipating the Giants trailing 23-10. They would anticipate the pass. The draw play catches them when they're in that wide open pass rush.
Send it over here for Herman, covered by Ursel McBee and Carl Kazuki.
And one of the photographers got into the action.
Have a very subjective view if he took the picture.
46, Ursel McBee. Bobby Bryant has played a fine game at right cornerback for the Minnesota Vikings. He has replaced Ed Shirachman, who was injured. Number 20, Bobby Bryant, 6'1", 180 pounds, second year out of South Carolina. right cornerback for Minnesota.
There it is again to Fredrickson. One man, he gets by him, and finally Paul Krause brings him down at about the 30-yard line. First down and 10, 7 minutes, 28 seconds left to play.
And again, that draw play that worked so well. You see Alex Webster motioning Butch Wilson into the game to replace Freeman White, who is limping off the field. Wilson going in at the tight end position. But the draw play working well against the Viking front four, who had been sort of freewheeling on their pass rush.
Fredrickson, 56 yards on 10 carries. First and 10. Herman to the right, Jones to the left. Over Jones, and Bryant stopped him, but didn't bring him down. He just ran out of real estate over there. Oh, he is strong.
Homer Jones, he's a big one, and Bobby Bryant hasn't brought him down today, I don't believe. He's tackled him a couple times, failed to get him on the ground. Jones at 6'2", program listed at 220, more like 225. 6 minutes, 50 seconds remain, second and about 4.
At the 24-yard line. Fredrickson inside the 20. I believe good for the first down. 6 minutes, 40 seconds left. First down for New York. And the crowd coming to life here at the stadium.
Can't help but notice that Tarkenton has worked himself into field position where he could go to his rookie, Don Herman, who is now flanked to the right. Herman, a real fine corner man from this position.
Joe Morrison. Maybe to the 15, 14-yard line. Hilgenberg, Alan Page on the stop. As we look over now at the Giant coaching staff, here comes John Fuqua, number 29 in, and Joe Morrison will come out. 5 minutes, 50 seconds left.
Giants are going to have to hurry out of that huddle.
Second down and 8 at the 15. Tucker Fredrickson holds on to it, but there'll be a loss on the play of about a yard or two. As Winston there to bring him down.
You saw the dismay in head coach Alex Webster, who had sent that play in, and Minnesota, almost reading his thoughts, put a linebacker out over Don Herman and pass into the flat to Fredrickson, led him right into Roy Winston, the left linebacker for Minnesota. 3rd and 9, a pretty much of a must situation for New York. They trail 23-10, 5 minutes remaining.
Wide open. Don Herman, he's in for the touchdown.
Well, we talked about Herman running a corner pattern. We thought he'd do it on the right side. Watch him drive down, drive inside, turn Bobby Bryant completely around. Watch us drive inside. The look, he's all alone. And the Giants have shortened the gap. Beautifully thrown by Tarkenton, and the rookie from Waynesburg has done it again. He's been so impressive.
He did the same thing in the same corner at Minnesota 2 weeks ago.
And he has some fine statistics coming from that small college out in western Pennsylvania. One game he caught 7 touchdown passes. It's hard to believe, but you can see why after you saw that fine pattern.
And the score narrows now to Minnesota 23, New York 17. We'll be back with the Giants kickoff in just a moment.
Hi, this is Phil Rizzuto. Here at Yankee Stadium, Peels took on 3 top beers of the East in a series of taste tests. Beer drinkers by the hundreds tasted, compared, and chose. And the results? Not one beer could beat Peels Real Draft. In one of the tests, Peels was preferred by 59 3/10% of the people. Why? Because Peels is real draft beer, and draft beer tastes fresher and lighter. Test Peels against your beer and see why real draft cannot be beaten.
On the road. Wherever we stopped, American Oil's lead-free Amoco took on its leading competitors in a mileage showdown. Again and again, lead-free Amoco came up with bonus miles per tank full over the competition. These drivers saw it happen. Seeing is believing. Make your own mileage test with lead-free Amoco. The believer's gasoline, and only American Oil dealers have it.
4 minutes, 48 seconds left to play. Minnesota 23, New York 17. Gogolak to kick off. Jones and Reed are Harris rather, the deep receivers for Minnesota. And Gogolak puts it about 2 yards short of the end line. It's out, and it'll be 1st and 10 at the 20.
Up to date on a couple of very important conference games. In that Central Division, Green Bay leads Chicago 14-0. Grabowski has scored for Green Bay, 14 yards out. Los Angeles Rams and the Baltimore Colts, favored pretty much equally in the Coastal Division, are tied up at 17 apiece in the third period. That Green Bay score we gave you is in the fourth period. Gabriel has thrown another touchdown pass for the Rams. This one to Ellison for 13 yards and a touchdown. The Rams and Colts, 17 apiece.
Osborne and Brown, the running backs. Washington to the left. Tom Hall to the right. 1st and 10 for the 20 for the Vikings, who lead 23-17. Osborne. To about the 24.
The Giant bench, as they have drawn within a touchdown of taking the lead. Up to Tony Pisani, the big man in the fedora, and I know you can hear this crowd. Having been down there a few times, it is electrifying. They're not too courteous to visiting quarterbacks. Of course, that works in reverse. Wherever you go, you have to live with it and play with it.
2nd down and 7. Hall to the left, Washington to the right. Osborne to about the 25. Jammed up there by Parker, 72. Lurcham is 71.
Giant defense rising up again. Watch Bob Lurcham now. He's working right in the middle, fighting off one block. That's Bruce Maher, the tight safety. And Jim Lindsay now comes in with more than likely a play from the Viking bench. Passing situation. Washington, Henderson, the wide receivers. Washington to the left against Willie Williams. To the right goes Tom Hall against Scott Eaton.
3rd and 5. Washington drops the ball, picked up by New York. New York's ball, 1st and 10 at the 35. 3 minutes and 6 seconds left. Washington hit on a rattling tackle.
And let's take a look at it. Washington slamming in, gets away from Willie Williams, but he is really jolted. Pops up the football. Watch him get hit now, over the middle. Carl Lockhart barrels into him. And Ralph Heck comes up with the football, and Yankee Stadium is bedlam.
2 minutes, 55 seconds, 1st and 10 at the 36. Herman to the right, Jones to the left. Fuqua and Fredericks in the back. And there's Fuqua on the draws. He gets it down to the 27-yard line. Stopped in there by Kazuki. 2 minutes, 35 seconds. The clock moving.
Both teams in possession of all of their timeouts. 3. And the 2-minute warning coming up to also assist.
2nd down and about 1.5. Fuqua, one blocker in front, but it doesn't make out as down he goes and a flag goes down. The indication will be, I think, against New York, however. 2 minutes, 9 seconds on the clock.
That preliminary indication was a big one, holding 15 yards. That is going to move it all the way back to Minnesota's 43-yard line. And the obvious implications are that the Giants will have to go to the pass, and they have had more than their problems keeping Eller, Larson, Page, and Marshall off Fran Tarkenton's back.
And 17.
Second and 17. Eller coming in. The pass intended out there for Tucker Fredrickson.
So a big 3rd and 17 for the Giants. What do you do against the Minnesota Vikings on 3rd and 17? They'll be releasing that front 4. Minnesota has brought in their fifth halfback, Dale Hackbart. As Jones goes to the left, Herman to the right. The tight end is Butch Wilson on the right side.
A big pile of people down there, and I think the New Yorkers have it. Yes, first down at the 10. Butch Wilson, I believe, the tight end. It looked like a basketball fight down there as about 3 defensive men went up for it.
Keep in mind that one defender, it has to be a defender, not a Giant, who can touch this ball. Up they go for it, and Bobby Bryant hit it. Butch Wilson came up with it. Had that been a Giant player that hit it, it would have been disallowed. But Bobby Bryant hit it for Minnesota. Butch Wilson came up with it. 1:47 on the clock. And the 2-minute warning has been given to Tarkenton. And he is coming over to the Giant bench to join head coach Alex Webster. Alongside Alex Webster on his right, Roosevelt Brown, the line coach for the Giants. And here's where things get sticky. And I have to tell you, Jack, Red looks pretty cool.
Yeah, he does, doesn't he? I was just going to comment on that. Like he's been here before.
He's been in a lot of them. 10 years a New York Giant. Never any excitement or panic in the huddle with him, and I spent 9 of my years with him there. Milt Plum steps into the picture, the Giant reserve quarterback. Minute 47 remains. The Giants have their 3 timeouts. Time is not the problem at this point. It's the Minnesota defense, which has been just about as stubborn as the Giant defense, surprisingly, in the second half has been. What a big break that was. Bobby Bryant batting that ball into the air, and Butch Wilson, who replaced Freeman White at tight end. Johnny on the spot. Can you imagine what's going to happen here, Jack, should the Giants score this touchdown?
I'll be able to hear it over at Shea Stadium. All right, 1st and goal from the 10, just inside the 10. 1 minute, 47 left. Fredrickson. And Hilgenberg gets his body in the way, and down goes Fredrickson for little or no gain. 130. 134.
Joe Morrison now has come in for New York, replacing Fuqua, the rookie. Morrison, the added stability of being a 10-year veteran, plus the fact that he's a fine receiver. And there's no doubt, I'm sure, that Tarkenton is well aware that from this point, he's going to have to throw the ball. Keep in mind, Herman, again, with those fine moves, very effective, down in close. Herman to the right, Jones to the left.
Touchdown! Right off Ucel McBee, and as you called it, Frank, a post pattern down and in, and it is all tied up.
There it is. Ron Herman, right between defenders, Ursel McBee and Roy Winston on the left side, and Fran Tarkenton, cool as an iceman, drilling the ball in between defenders. We'll look at it again. Herman right between defenders. Tarkenton zipping it in there. They say he can't throw from the pocket, Jack.
59 seconds left. Gogolak to try to put New York ahead for the important extra point right now. It is good. New York leads 24-23, 59 seconds left.
Don't go away. 59 seconds remain. Minnesota with 3 timeouts remaining. They have already demonstrated they can hit from anywhere on the field. And what a present this would be for head coach Alex Webster. Vikings dominating this game up into midway in the third quarter. Central Division champions of a year ago, and they have been played to a standstill in the third period and then outplayed in the fourth period. And surprisingly to me, Jack, has been the play of the Giant defense. Except for a couple of costly errors, it's been absolutely better than I've seen in years.
All right, Gogolak. That's Jones and Bill Harris deep. He sails this one. 5 or 6 yards in, and Harris is going to run it out to about the 18-yard line. Seconds now as Minnesota quickly lines up a 1st and 10. The ball at the 19. The Giants lead at 24-23. Lazo going for Washington, out of bounds. .42 seconds remain as we look over at the Viking bench. There is the time. Washington left, Hall to the right. Lazo going all the way for Gene Washington, and Lockhart almost has the interception. Incomplete pass at the New York Giant 30. 33 seconds on the clock. Carl Lockhart almost wrapped that up. Third down for Minnesota as we look at the Giant bench. Graham Tarkenton, number 10. Head coach Alex Webster. Now, of course, Norm Hecker, the defensive coach, is directing things. It is third down. The Giants with only a 3-man rush. Quazzo getting caught and racked down at the 6-yard line. And look at the Giant bench. Bruce Anderson, Lertzema. It is fourth down, 28 seconds left. This Giant defense has really come of age here in this second half. Twice they made Minnesota settle for field goals. And now, with just 28 seconds left, Minnesota faced with a fourth down, their own 9-yard line. As New York now calls a timeout, and Ralph Heck comes over to talk with Norm Hecker. Head coach Webster. This New York Giant team has been a long time without a victory. Halfway into last season, all the way through the preseason. And now they lead 24-23 with 28 seconds left. And a 4th down for the Vikings. Ralph Heck, number 55, talking with Norv Hecker in the baseball cap there, the defensive coach of the Giants. Both benches up as the Vikings huddle at the goal line. Well, here we go, 4th down, 28 seconds left. It is complete to Henderson, but down he goes at the 25-yard line. And it is New York's ball with 19 seconds left. Fran Tarkenton, arms in the air, comes screaming out to embrace the defensive team as the defense have really made their mark here today. It's been a long time since there's been a scene like this on the New York sideline. Lertzema, Bruce Anderson, everybody. And the fans love it. Quite an upset here, as the Vikings were favored by 9 points. New York, 1st and 10 at the Viking 25, 19 seconds left. And when you consider the tremendous pressure that this great Viking defense has put on all afternoon, it is really one of the minor miracles of this first Sunday of the football season. And Tarkenton just falls down. Flag goes down. Illegal procedure in its decline. It'll be 2nd down, 16 seconds remaining. And again, Tarkenton just grabs on and drops to the ground. And here's the countdown. Listen. And look at this scene as the Giants defeat the Minnesota Vikings 24-23. Up, Alex Webster on the shoulders. That's Bruce Anderson, number 79, one of the carriers. And a tremendously emotional thing here at Yankee Stadium, with the Giants getting off with a stunning upset over Minnesota, 24-23. In a game that Minnesota was well out in front and controlled for most of it until somewhere in the 3rd period, when that Giant defense started to come together, stopped the scoring, and then all of a sudden the offense got a hold, and 2 great touchdown passes from Fran Tarkenton to the young rookie Don Herman, and all of a sudden New York was on top and Minnesota was on bottom. There's the final score: New York 24 and Minnesota 23. And the sellout crowd here at Yankee Stadium perhaps feels a good deal better than they did in the last game last season, and perhaps better than they felt coming in here this afternoon. A fine and excellently played ball game, with that Minnesota defense doing what everybody knows they can do so well and causing all kinds of havoc in the offensive plans of New York until the very end.